Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea, hope you're all well. So what I wanted to do in this video is share with you some knowledge on building more complex presets using Quad Cortex. Quad Cortex is a modeler, of course. Most of you watching my channel probably know exactly what that is. It's my preferred modeler of choice. Big fan of the way the workflow works, and it's got a great desktop editor. So I'm going to be using that in this video, but it is worth saying that you can probably do this with other modelers. Like if you use a Helix or AxeFX or any other kind of modeler, you can probably achieve similar results. This is more about sharing the thought process behind the signal path and how to manipulate it in more intricate ways to create really cool sounds, like the sounds you heard at the start of this video. One of the most downloaded presets on my Quad Cortex app is called Icicles. It's a sort of ambient guitar sound. It's got pitched delays in multiple octaves that are sort of swimming around and creating a very deep, sort of expansive ambient guitar tone. I'm a really big fan of it. It's one of the first presets I made when Quad Cortex launched, and it's one of the most popular ones on my profile. But what I wanted to do is revisit that style of preset in a way that sort of works for everybody. It's a very simple approach to using the signal flow, but it's quite complicated in terms of what you're actually doing to the signal, if that makes sense. So in this video, I'm just going to show you how I go about doing that. We'll start from scratch and we'll build it as we go, and hopefully you'll be able to achieve similar results on your modeler. Right, so we're starting a new preset, a blank canvas, as Max likes to call it, an infinite possibility of tonal adventure, which I think is a very accurate way to do it. It's worth saying me and Max were doing these kind of preset buildings on our clinic runs in the Far East and all that stuff, and I just wanted to share it with you. So obviously you need a guitar to sort of sound test as you go. It's really important that you do that. It's like cooking, you taste as you cook, you know? So anyway, in one, and then what we're going to do is we're going to change this to row 3. And then we're going to set the end of row 3 to output 1 and 2. Of course, that depends on how you're routing this in your own rig, but for the purpose of this video, it's just coming XLR out into the interface. Right, so now we've got our sort of grid set up. The next thing I'm going to do is create splits. So I'm going to split my signal like this. I'm going to do exactly the same on this lane. So we've got identical splits happening here. And I just need to set these up. So I'm setting this up as A and B, normal, and the same here, A and B, normal. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can determine how much signal I want sending to the sort of affected loops. So the idea being that our signal chain, or our signal path, is in all the way through to the out, and you know, anything that breaks off here in this split is kind of the affected portion of it. Now that we've done that, I'm going to choose my amp and cab. So let me do that now. I'm going to grab a personal favorite, which is Victor Squid Channel 1. In case you wondered, that is my personal prototype Victory VX Kraken. And the next thing I'm going to do is add a cab. Now, I usually use my own IRs, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to grab a V30 loaded cab. And I think I like, where is it? V3095 stereo. So, should have some sound. I'm going to quickly dial this in. This is for the purpose of my tone. Obviously, you can choose any amp, any setup that you want, depending on what you're doing, but I like to boost the master. I like EL34s and a bit less gain. Okay, might boost the treble a touch. Next, I'm going to add a compressor, just because I like that sort of sound. Optocomp, lower the ratio, boost the old threshy, back off the mix a touch. I like that. And for the purpose of this as well, because this building doesn't have the cleanest power, I'm going to put a gate on so it's nice and quiet. Okay, so now we've got our tone. What I'm going to do next is add our overall ambience. So that's at the very end of this signal chain. So this is kind of like effects loop, if you will. So I'm going to grab a delay, and I like the analog delay in stereo. I like putting it in ping pong mode, and let's boost the feedback a touch. And I'm going to put it on half. Actually, I'm going to put it on a quarter there. Yeah, do that. And then I'm going to add some delay. I'm going to add Plate Lush. It's one of my favorites. Pre-delay down, a little bit back off that, boost that. you could argue that that's a nice ambient tone as it is. I could play on that sort of sound for hours, but this is going to be way more interesting than that. So the first thing I'm going to do at this point is address our first split. I'm going to add a pitch shifter. So I'm going to boost this by 12. And what you're going to notice is that because the split happens before the amp, it's just the compressed DI signal. So it's going to sound a bit weird. Kind of random. What we're going to do next is we're going to add our first delay. And for the purpose of this, I'm going to go with a tape delay. Now, the reason that we put the pitch shifter first and before the amp is basically so that we get a clean DI into the pitch shifter, so it's nice in terms of tracking. And the cool thing about using a delay block after the fact is we can use the high and the low pass filter to pull out all that top end that's a bit harsh. The next thing we should do is boost the mix on full, so we're just hearing the delayed full mix version. So what have we got now? And I'm going to change the delay time. What about now? So there you go. You can hear it's already sounding quite cool. I'm going to back off the low pass to get rid of some of that top end again. Fee nice, fee nice. So next, I'm going to add another pitch shifter on the lower lane. And this time, I'm going to go all the way up 24. And then I'm going to add another delay. And we'll use something a little bit different this time. I'm going to go with an analog delay in ping pong mode. And we're going to do that at quarter notes. Mix on full, boost that feedback, and boost the depth a touch. So what have we got now? Very cool, although it's jumped in volume. So this is where the split comes in. We're going to take the level of B down so that it's not so intense. Let's have a listen. Next thing I'm going to do is address some of that EQ. I'm going to ping pong both of them because they're all doing different divisions of time. We've got half note, we've got quarter notes, and we've got, let's put, in fact, I'm going to go quarter note like this. So it's already sounding really expansive and epic, right? Sounding very, very cool. The next thing I'm going to do, and this is something that Max showed me, we're going to take a tape delay. But what we're going to do is we're going to boost the mix all the way up, we're going to bring the feedback all the way down, and we're going to bring that sync note to as fast as possible. And the reason is that by using a tape delay, firstly it has drives, that's tape saturation, gets a nice amount of warmth, but tape delay with the wow and the flutter turned up are going to give us a sort of lo-fi vibe. So check this out. I'll turn it off and then I'll turn it on. Sounds amazing. One of the things that I did was take that principle and I tried it again on this side. So I grabbed a reverse delay, reverse dual delay. And what I'm going to do is boost the mix all the way up, bring the feedback all the way down, and we're going to do something like this. We're just going to mess with the subdivisions of everything. Just check that our cross feedback, maybe turn it up a touch. And then we'll leave everything as it is. Maybe we'll bring that down. So let's have a listen. So cool. So just a quick bit of tweaking there. As you saw, what I was basically doing was sort of dialing in the timings of the reverse delay against the timings of the tape delay, and I boosted the drive on the tape delay to give us more of that tape saturation. And then I've just been messing with the low pass, because that's how much high end of that split signal we're letting through, basically. It's nice to be governing it that way. I think it's a really easy way of dialing in the EQ. The next thing that might be worth doing as well is if you're getting quite a build-up of a certain frequency, because we're sort of sectioning off the high end and it's sort of accentuating the mids, I noticed it happening on this lower lane. So I'm going to add an EQ block after the fact. And what it allows me to do is carve out the stuff I don't want. So and as you quite clearly heard right at the end there, if you put the ping pong mode on that tape delay, now you get a nice chorus effect. Within about 10 minutes, I'm not sure how long this video is going to be edited down, but you can quite clearly hear just how deep and expansive this particular preset is, And I've barely really tweaked it. I've just tried to do it reasonably quick for you guys. You can continue to tweak this kind of preset and make it even more expansive, really carve out certain frequencies to help with, you know, getting that width and all the rest of it. But to be perfectly honest, I just love the workflow and how easy it is to create something on that level. And you know, that creates a beautiful pad. You can play on your own. In an arrangement, it's going to be really nice having that swimming along in the background. What I will do is I will save this preset and we're going to call it LoFi Sickles. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to upload this to the cloud and it'll be on my profile. So if you're a Quad Cortex user, you can go to my profile on Quad Cortex app and you can find the LoFi Sickles preset, download it for yourself, you know, backwards engineer it if you want to know how it worked again, or you can carry on tweaking and make it your own basically. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was insightful. I'm going to do a couple more videos in this format, and it's worth saying that these kind of principles and rules kind of apply across the board if you use modelers, because at the end of the day, modelers are designed in such a way that you have that sound design aspect at your fingertips. So it's really a case of, you know, understanding your particular unit, whether it's, like I say, QC, head rush, like whatever. I think Kemper might be a little bit limited in terms of what you can do in that world, but certainly things like the QC, the helix, the head rush, the axe effects, all that kind of stuff should be able to do this level of complexity when it comes to building a preset. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what kind of rigs you want me to build in the comment section below. But of course, I'll link Quad Cortex to the description box, and I'll link to this particular preset in the description box. But as always, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe and share. I've been Rabea, and I will see you all very soon.